Hello, everyone. You're now listening to the second episode of the Eye on Asia podcast, which is now in its second season. This is Lay once again, and I'm here with Joko in Manila to bring you the latest market research news and trends from Asia.
Hello, our first episode this season was a very informative one, especially when we interviewed members from dataSpring Korea about the recent study on dining out after the peak of the pandemic. This time, we'll feature another interesting study, care of dataSpring's Europe, Middle East, and Africa team.
That's right, they will discuss their study about the automobile market across the Asia-Pacific region. There will also be other interesting discussions later on this episode, so let's get started and dive into our first segment, the latest news feature from Asia.
Do you know that India has already surpassed China as the most populous nation in the world? According to a recent UN estimate, India's population has reached 1,425,775,850 people. While the exact figures are not available, it is clear that both India and China have more than 1.4 billion people each.
That's correct, Joko. Both countries have accounted for more than a third of the global population for 70 years already. And this has a different implications and socioeconomic impacts, both positive and negative.
Let's talk about some specific issues related to overpopulation in India. Aside from issues in food and other resources, employment becomes more competitive. For example, according to the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, only 40% of India's working-age population works or wants to work. Additionally, since more Indian women are giving birth and looking after their children, only 10% of working-age women were participating in the labor force, compared with 69% in China. Poverty, lack of resources, and lack of jobs lead to local migration to cities. Around 200 million Indians have migrated within the country, and cities keep on growing. If the cities can't provide reasonable living standards, this will lead to more slums and disease.
On the other hand, having a young growing population has some positive implications as well. For example, being the most populous nation will strengthen India's bid for a permanent seat in the UN Security Council, which has 5 permanent members including China. The age of the population also matters. 1 in 5 people below 25 years in the world is from India, and 47% of Indians are below the age of 25. Roughly 2/3 of Indians were born after the early 90s when the country liberalized its economy. Economists in India believe that this generation will become the largest consumer and labor source in the knowledge and network goods economy, making the country the largest pool of global talent.
If the public and private sectors can provide the necessities of a growing population, like food, water, housing, sanitation, and education, they can steer the country from a possible socioeconomic disaster into a more productive and advanced nation.
I agree with you, Joko. To our listeners, we want to know what are your thoughts about India's population and what do you think are the steps needed to improve their situation? Share with us your thoughts on dataSpring's social media pages on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Just look for our handle D8ASPRING dataSpring. We'd love to hear from you.
In our previous episode's interview with a Springer segment, we talked with Se-hee Kim and Young-gyuk Kwon from dataSpring Korea about their study on post-pandemic dining habits of South Korean consumers. It was a very thought-provoking and insightful discussion, so we've decided to tackle another topic that is similarly engaging.
Recently, dataSpring's EMEA team, which serves the Europe, Middle East, and Africa regions, spearheaded a study on the automobile market in the Asia-Pacific region, covering 12 countries. This study will soon be available for viewing on our website.
Without further ado, let's introduce our Springers, Darl and Sed.
Hi everyone, my name is Darl and I am Senior Manager of EMEA CS and Operations.
Hi, I'm Sed, Account Manager from EMEA CS and Operations.
Welcome to the Eye on Asia podcast, Darl and said, thank you for joining us today. First off, we heard that you just came back from a trip to the UK for the Quirks London event. How was it?
It was our first time attending Quirks, so it was great being able to meet our clients in London. The event really gives you a good idea of the current landscape of market research and where it's going, so it's vital for us as a panel provider to be able to keep up with the changes in the industry.
Let's discuss your study on the automobile market in the Asia Pacific region. Could you please provide a brief summary of your study and what led your team to develop this study?
In the study, we researched about preferences on car condition and brands, and we segmented each preference based on income. In essence, the majority still prefer purchasing new cars instead of used ones, and Toyota is a brand name that is known across all the 11 markets we ran. Our team came up with producing short-form content that can be consumed by people online and that can be useful for their own research. You can actually download this on our website for free. The topics are mostly based on its relevance in the region we are servicing, in this case, EMEA, and we identify this based on the quotation requests we receive from our clients.
Let's discuss the methodology of this study. What does incidence rate mean and how is it used in the study?
Basically, incidence rate is the number of people qualified for a survey that is based on a given criteria or profile. For this study, we're looking for people who own specific car brands, car conditions, intent to purchase, and the like. In this case, since the data shows that Japan has about 24% of people who own a Toyota, we could say that the incidence rate of Toyota owners among general car owners in our Japan panel is 24%.
When coming up with studies like this, what are the most notable challenges and how does dataSpring overcome these hurdles?
I think preparing the questionnaire has been the most challenging one because as much as possible, it has to be free of bias. Second is the actual tabulation of data because you have to sort it in a way that it will tell you a story. Thankfully, we are equipped with talented people who made this possible, and also we have internal tools that helped us to produce the final output.
Download our 2023 panel book and get to know our Asian panel coverage, sources, quality, target profiles, and more. Link provided in the post.
Welcome to Ask a Springer, our new segment where we bring you insights from our Springers on emerging trends in Asia. Today we have Darl from dataSpring EMEA.
For this episode, we would like to cite a study conducted by Remitly about the countries that people want to visit again. Leveraging on our habits of taking to social media to express everything from fleeting emotions to innermost desires, Remitly has analyzed more than 1.5 million tweets published over 5 years to determine which places people miss the most. Japan was found to be the most missed country in the world by a significant margin, with over 68,300 mentions in tweets, which accounted for 13.6% of the country-related tweets analyzed.
This is an interesting insight and study method. Darl, we'd like to hear your thoughts on this study. Do you agree with the result? And also, do you think this method of social listening is a valid method to gather insights?
Personally, I do agree. I was in Japan back in 2018 and I've been wanting to go back ever since. I think there are a lot of reasons why people are so captivated. For me, it's the way Japan is able to preserve tradition while being pioneers for technological advancements. It's remarkable. You see evidence of it almost everywhere you go. And I think social listening is an effective way not only to gather insights, but also to help market researchers with formulating strategies that can help communities and businesses. We are at an age where almost everything is digitalized and more people are using online platforms. Although we have to still be very cautious particularly with the advent of AI and ChatGPT, and we should still be able to distinguish between bot responses and actual human responses.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us, Darl, and said your study about the automobile market provides a very interesting insight into consumers across Asia.
Thanks, Darlin said. If you want to know more about dataSpring, you can contact us through our email, contact@dataspring.com. For panel inquiries, you can contact them through services@dataspring.com. You can also visit our website, dataspring.com. That's D8ASPRING.com. Our sales teams are available 24/7 to answer all your questions. You can also check out our social media for our latest updates. Just type in dataSpring in the search bars on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter.
That's it for our second episode of the second season. We hope you enjoyed learning about dataSpring and the world of market research in Asia. And with our new segment, Ask a Springer, stay tuned for our next episode coming your way next month. Until then, take care and bye for now.